3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Welcome to the Remote Photography Podcast. In this episode, I speak with model Carla Monaco about her remote photography experiences. Enjoy the podcast. Hi Carla, thanks for doing the podcast. If people don't know who you are, can you give us a brief rundown of your career, please?
Yeah, sure can. So my name's Carla Monaco. I'm a UK-based model. I live in the Southwest in Swindon, and I've been modeling freelance and commercial now for around coming up to like 11 years, which is crazy to think. So yeah, I model fashion, portraiture, vintage, artistic nudes, bit of everything really. I like to keep it diverse and try my hand at a bit of everything. So yeah.
Keep it a bit different across the board.
Yeah, I like to do different styles and keep it interesting. And obviously I love the vintage style. That's one of my favourite things to do.
So how did you hear about remote shooting it? Had it been people had approached you before? You'd seen people posting their images online?
Well, when the pandemic hit, so like late March, when we lost all our work and everything went crazy, I did start getting a few messages from a couple of photographers just saying, have you heard about remote shooting? And then I saw a few model friends like Zoe. She took it up quite quickly and she was making quite a success out of it. So I kind of kept my eye on what everyone was doing, but I was kind of busy doing other things. I started a new business during the first lockdown. So that kind of took up a lot of my time. And then when the restrictions got eased and we could move around a bit more, I kind of went back to shooting kind of normally, well, as normal as you can. Yeah. So it was on my radar and I kept an eye on it. It was interesting seeing what everyone was doing, but like I was quite late to picking up on remote shoots. I only started this year. So I think it's amazing really what everyone's doing. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it at the minute.
So over the course of your remote shooting experience, can you name some countries where photographers have shot from?
Yeah, so like I've shot with people from all over the world now, which is amazing, really. I've kind of feel like I've done like a virtual tour of America. I've shot with people on the West Coast, New York, Minnesota, Virginia, all over Europe. But then like I've shot with photographers who like live in Gloucester in like the next town to me. It's amazing, really, that we can do this. Yeah. And I think it's going to stay around for a long time, actually.
So what's the current setup you have now to do your remote shooting? Because you do it a little bit differently, because obviously I've shot with you, and one aspect is I hadn't come across was going through Chrome to do a remote shoot.
Yeah, so on my setup, I work with my husband, Adrian, who's a photographer himself. When we decided to do it, he looked up how to like share. Google Remote was just one of the first ones we tried, and it seems to work for us. So we use an XT3 Fuji camera and we tether that through Capture One, and then we use the Google Remote to share computers with the photographer. So initially when we first tried the remote shooting, we did try and do it with our Nikon camera, which was a bit of a pain.
Yeah. Everyone's come across that yet.
Yeah. Have you shot with a Nikon?
Well, say like people like Cheryl Elizabeth, where she's had the Nikon, but she's had a Mac, and Nikons really don't like to talk to each other.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've shot with a couple of people that have got Nikon, but they've mostly had Windows computers where they've been able to find software that's been compatible.
We just found it too slow and too clunky. Like it did work, but it just didn't flow very well, and it didn't trigger the flash either with the Nikon. Right. But the system we've got now, it seems to work really well. Like it flows really quickly. So in Capture One, what we found is instead of using the live view to actually, like you can compose the shot in live view, but then you pause the button and then use your phone to see what I'm doing. Yeah. And then once it's in pause, you can just keep shooting as normal. So it kind of flows a lot faster, like close enough to what a normal shoot flow would be. Yeah, we've had no issues with it. And obviously he assists throughout. So if there is an issue, he's in there straight away. He's quite good at fixing problems quite quickly. But like touch wood, we've had no real issues really.
Yeah, because when we did our shoot, after you briefly explained it to me, I found it like perfectly natural and quick to understand. We did get into a flow when we did our shoot. But you also have like stuff like backdrops and dust sheets. Are you limited into where you can shoot?
Well, we use our dining room to shoot. So that's like the studio setup, which is, it's quite a good space, really. We've got grey backdrop. We've got different cloth backdrops, different colours. So it's basically like a working studio, but we can use around the house. We've got like a little white lounge that we can use. And we've also done up our spare room upstairs, which is, there's lots of natural light there. So that gives us another option to shoot now, which is really good. So yeah, it's just sort of like thinking outside the box and what you can use, what you have, because we're working from home, so our house is a bit of a mess at the minute. We've got lots of boxes and it's not like a normal home.
But I'm like looking at the pictures, like because you posted some on your website and on various sites and Facebook groups, but most of it stuff looks like it could have been shot in a studio. You wouldn't realise you've just put a backdrop up, and it's
I think that's true for a lot of pictures. It's like it's not about what's on the other side, is it? Like if you're doing, I mean, we can get full length in here, but a lot of people tend to like the 3/4 length. Yeah. But you can shoot that anywhere, really, as long as you've got a bit of space to sort of get back, and you can shoot anywhere, really. And it's amazing what you can do in the space you have.
Exactly. Have you find it's been help get your brain being creative? Because with the space you've had to think, say, I'm looking at some of the pictures, like there's a black and white one where you're standing by a blind, so it's almost like film noir.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's one you've almost got like one of those studio lights behind you. That's part of a set. Has it made your brain think, I can do this and this with what I've got?
Well, yeah, it pushes you sort of to think like, well, what have I got and what can I use? Yeah. And also, like, I like to change my look a lot. I like to do the vintage, I like the fashion and stuff. But yeah, using things around the home, like the film noir picture you're referring to, we only did that recently. But that's something like I've shot that style in studios and locations over the years, but I've never done it here at home. And it's like, oh yeah, we can do it. You don't need that much space because the shot's more sort of like cut in and but yeah, that was something we were out in, I think, like B&Q, and we just saw a blind. It was like, let's get that, let's see what we can do. It is thinking, what can you do in the space and using different props and sets and I mean, I've got loads of ideas. It's just finding the time to like implement them. It's like getting it all going. But yeah, it's fun. It's really fun.
Has it made look at the space you have available differently? So you may be walking around and suddenly you think, oh, I could shoot against that window, or I could shoot against that wall.
Oh yeah, like I'm looking now and I'm thinking, oh, I haven't shot there, maybe I could do something there. But obviously it is our home as well, so there's only so much you can do. Because otherwise you'd just be like just living in a constant studio. But it's quite funny because we've had recently the electrician come, and we've had, who's the other guy? The guy who came to fix our boiler. And like we usually have like a dining room table set up, but we've had to take that apart obviously because we're shooting. So like our dining room area, like when you come in, it's just full of like backdrops and the studio lights and the stands, and it's like not a normal home. So like when they come in and we don't say anything to them, it's kind of like waiting for the reaction, like what the hell is this?
What have I walked into?
Like this isn't normal. Why she got a backdrop and lights and there's like bits of clothes, there's like hats everywhere, and I think it's quite funny.
Well, the last year hasn't been as normal for everyone, so
no, like people have got to adapt, to survive. It's like been thinking actually about these remote shoots. They've been like, I've been really grateful that I can do them, and a bit of income and also like stay creative, because it's like if you haven't got that option, I think a lot of models might have had to have taken other jobs or do other things, and so it's amazing that we have the technology, we can do it.
With Adrian being a photographer, you already had the kit. Did you find that was helpful as well? And obviously because you're friends with a few models, did you find when they started doing it that sort of like piqued your interest to do it as well?
Oh yeah, definitely. Thing was like last year, I could have set it up last year, but obviously I was busy doing other things, but I was a little bit nervous as well, because it's like it's completely different from how we'd normally work.
Did you do like a few test shoots with Adrian just to get a feel for it, or did you just jump straight into it?
Yeah, so in the beginning me and Adrian did like a quick test, I think with the Nikon to start, and obviously that didn't work. And then we've got a couple of friends who we roped in to test it out. So one of my friends, Dave Edwards, I don't know if you've met Dave.
I don't think I have.
Yeah, he's one of our friends. He's a photographer as well. I think he was a little bit skeptical about how it was going to work. He really enjoyed it, but did we use the Nikon for that? I think we did. And that was quite slow, but he still really enjoyed it. And after we did that test shoot, I remember like I felt really good, like I've been working, you know, even though it was just a test. And we got a couple, and like the pictures weren't the best because the lights didn't trigger and blah blah blah, but I felt really good, like I was back to shooting. And then once I had that buzz, I was like, I want to do another one. And we just wanted to perfect it and get it right. And then we got a hold of the XT3 Fuji, and then that kind of changed it all. It just made it a lot easier. And
no, I've heard like from several models like Artemis, Ivory, that as soon as they started doing it, it felt like I'm working again. I'm doing what I've enjoyed doing for the last several years in person, but suddenly it was the aspect of I can see the results firsthand, and you got that buzz again, like almost like you would be modeling in person.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Because like the results are kind of instant, like when you're tethering, you can see. But it's also like interacting with different photographers. Because over the past year, there's not many people like you get to sort of interact with and work on a photo shoot. And it's like, it's amazing, really. Like I've met so many great people, and the buzz is definitely there. It's like each remote shoot I've done, I've learned something. I've shot something a bit different. I've learned something, and it's like, I want to do more. And I think it's something that's not going to go away. I think it's going to be around for a while, definitely.
And with the photographers you worked with, has it been more people you've worked with in person, or has it a lot been of people you've never worked with before?
Quite a few people I've worked with before who've been new to remotes themselves. And, they were a little bit nervous, and because they've shot with me loads over the years, they felt a bit more comfortable. You don't have to break the ice, and if things don't go to plan, then it's like
there's no pressure.
There's no pressure. But I've actually shot with quite a lot of people from all over America, just all new. And obviously, like initially it's nerve-wracking because it's a different way of working, but no, it's been brilliant.
Did you find adapting to, because obviously with remote shooting it's a slower pace than it is in person, did you find that was something you adapted to quickly, or did it take like a few shoots?
It took a few shoots, like the test shoots I did. So like, I think we tested it for about 2 weeks before we put it out and sort of said, we're ready to take bookings. So I kind of got used to the slower pace. It was just kind of trying to get that out to the photographers, that it's not going to be something that you sort of log into and then you just take loads and loads of pictures. It's not that type of shoot. And I have said to people before, it is a bit like shooting on film.
Exactly,
you just got to take your time a bit more. But lately, because because we bought a new laptop as well, our systems kind of got like a lot faster. So like once you press the shutter, like the picture comes up almost like instantly. That's kind of improved that. But I'd still think it's better to take your time.
Exactly,
and especially because you can see the pictures and then you can like look at them and perfect them.
But no, I definitely think it's going to be something when I get back to doing in-person shoots where I'll be looking at the frame more, whereas before, because it was digital, you could go click, 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 and then there was maybe 2 out of the 6 that you thought were good. But I definitely think it's something when I go back to shooting in person, I'll slow down, look at the frame more, and then hopefully get more quality shots rather than having to look at 20 and then there's maybe 2 or 3.
And obviously like when you're shooting in person, like there might be more distractions as well, from around, whereas when you're shooting remotely, the pictures come up right in front of you, don't they? You can see them instantly. And I always think it's better to go for quality than quantity anyway. Because usually for most like sets you're only going to want like maybe 1, 2 really killer shots. Because
I think when we did our shoot, did it come in under 100 pictures or just over 100 pictures? I can't remember off the top of my head.
We did. But we did quite a few sets, didn't we?
Yeah, but I think it was like we were doing like 20, 30, had a look and then...
Yeah, because you were like, you took several pictures and then you were like, right, let's look at them now and see, what we can improve or have we got it? Because if you've got it,
it's not worth
one killer shot. You've got it then, haven't you? There's no point going back.
Yeah, because if you've got it, then you're just going to be trying to replicate that, and then it's going to get worse and worse because you can't get it. So you're thinking, oh, I'm not getting the shot, and then you sort of you get disheartened, as it might sound like that.
Yeah, and you might be like sort of like getting stuck on something that's not going to happen.
Exactly, because you've really got it, so there's no need to be doing that. So over the shoots, have you found the limitations being a hindrance, or have you found it's made you be more creative in your choices of, say, shots and outfits and lighting?
I think it's pushed me to be more creative, to be honest, because you've just got to work with what you have. Just using different parts of our home that we wouldn't normally use, like the new room upstairs that we've decorated. That used to be our bedroom. So we basically we're in the back bedroom now. But that bedroom's a lot bigger, the light's better. So it's just like another place that we can shoot. And I mean, I like taking ideas from like the photographers as well. And I think that kind of pushes me to sort of be creative. And it's kind of like, what ideas do they have? What do they want to shoot? And then I'm like, okay, how can I do that in my home? You know, and what clothes do I have, or what can I get? What can I buy? And it's all limiting because we are still in lockdown. So it's not like we can just go to the charity shops and work with what you have and change and adapt. So yeah, it's definitely pushing me out of my
comfort zone,
but in a good way. You know, definitely in a good way.
Well, speaking of photographers presenting ideas, what's the best way that, say, a photographer wanted to shoot with you? Do you find it's like mood boards, or like a descriptive email, or is it just one of those ones where a photographer might say, I want to shoot with you, and we'll just see what you've got on a day?
I'm quite visual, so like a lot of models, I like to see, like, they send me a mood board with pictures and say, you know, I want to go for this kind of look or this kind of vibe. Then I can look at that and go, okay, yeah, I get that. I can style, you know, use this styling for that shot, or, you know, I can do my hair like this. And yeah, I like to see the pictures. And it doesn't have to be exact. It can be like
the feeling,
vibe, the feeling and emotion, or definitely like to see the visuals. But, you know, sometimes you get photographers who they might not have many ideas, because everyone does photography for different reasons. And some photographers I've worked with so many times over the years. There's one photographer I've worked with for about coming up to 10 years now. He shot me quite a lot, and it was quite interesting. He booked a remote with me, and it was interesting thinking, oh my God, like, would we have thought we'd be shooting remote 10 years later? It's like amazing, really.
With sometimes a photographer not giving you, say, a mood board, do you find sometimes you have to dig into what you can do? So say you could do film noir, or you could do like classic art nude and stuff, that you have to present these ideas to them?
Well, I kind of do that like on my website. I've got like a results page, and that's got all images like I've taken remotely from my home. So I usually just send them links to my website, really, and say, you know, this is what I can do. But if they don't have many ideas, if they just want like a variety of things, then that's what I'll give them, really. Cool. I like the photographer to go away with different images and variety. So, you know, we can shoot fashion, I can shoot vintage, art nude. I mean, sometimes I've like shown photographers like the clothes I have, and, you know, I say, this is what I have, like, do you like it? And it just depends on the individual photographer, really, what they want.
What have you found has been the best time for a shoot?
So we offer 2-hour shoots or 3-hour shoots, and we just found that time is quite a good time to get enough sets in, you know, get to know the photographer. And not many people have asked for like more than 3 hours, maybe one photographer. But yeah, like the 2 or 3 hours, it's quite a good time as well, because it's good on the battery life. So we don't have to like change battery or charge and stuff. And if you book 2 hours, then you could also do like 2-hour shoots in the day.
That's true.
You know, and have like a break in the middle. Which is quite good.
Has that been something you've had to adapt with as well? So say like a photographer's in the US, that you've had to do maybe like a morning session and an afternoon session so you can get like maybe 2 shoots in a day? Usually
like the US photographers, because they're on a different time zone, they'll book in the afternoon. But I haven't done like anything too late. I think my latest shoot ended like 6 p.m, 6 or 7 p.m. But one photographer shot me he said, oh, I can start at 1 p.m. He was in America. And I thought he it'd be like 10 a.m. or something there, but it was 5 a.m. for him.
Oh wow!
But he was okay. I think he likes the sort of early mornings. He was okay with that.
So how's the best way for a photographer if they wanted to book a remote shoot with you? Is it through your website, through your social media?
Mainly through my website, but I mean, I use Facebook and Instagram quite a lot, like a lot of models. So either really. I'm also on Purple Port. That's mainly for a lot of the UK photographers will contact me through there. But yeah, my website, Facebook, Instagram, I think they're like the main ones, aren't they?
Have you found that the Facebook groups have helped you display the work you've done, but also like people have approached you because you've posted in those groups?
Oh, yeah. There's been quite a lot of photographers who've messaged me because of the Facebook groups. It's been really helpful. And I think it's a really good community. Everyone's sharing their pictures. And, if you work with someone, then they might see someone on your friends list that, they want to shoot or vice versa. It opens it up to a lot more different people. It's been very helpful because I think I'm in quite about 3 or 4 now.
Yeah, I think there's about 3 or 4 going around on Facebook.
Yeah, and they're really good. And I'm always interested to see like what everyone's shooting, and I like looking at the behind the scenes. And it's always good. You can always learn from what everyone else is doing.
And I've seen a lot of people when they've had a question about technical difficulty or how to go about setting up. A lot of people they're not being judgmental. They're going straight in and like saying, "Oh yeah, I've come across that problem. Here's what you do." So I think everyone's like, especially in those communities, is helpful. Like,
everyone's helping each other, which is good, and you can get advice. I think that's how it should be.
Exactly.
It? We should all be helping each other, and because everyone offers something different as well, which I think is great. There's lots of advice in those groups to help people, and it's definitely helped me. So I'm really grateful for the people who started the groups. I think it's like Natasha J. Bella.
Yeah, and you got Sam in the States,
Yeah, and Chris Conway and Amy. Yeah, it's great.
So going forward, and hopefully, fingers crossed, during the course of this year, we get back to being able to shoot in person. Do you see remotes as something you'd be able to offer? Be it maybe not when you're touring, because obviously you could still do it in your own home, but maybe you go into a studio or something that you'd maybe add remotes on?
It's not going to go away, is it? I think all the people who are doing it and doing it really well, they're going to continue to do it. And I'm definitely going to keep shooting remotely. Like, for example, me and Artemis have a duo event in the summer at the Natural Light Space, and that's nearly all sold out, and we're thinking about putting on an extra day. And I'm thinking maybe in the afternoon we could offer some remote shoots to maybe people who can't get to the studio or maybe are abroad, because it's an amazing studio, lots of natural light. It'd be interesting to do a remote in a studio, and I think studios should embrace it because it opens it up to a much wider audience. I think it's like an additional thing that we can offer.
Yeah, because I've definitely, over the course of doing these, I've spoke to a couple of photographers who either have health issues or disabilities, and it's like been a new experience for them, because normally they might not be able to get to a location or a studio, but that's why I think if models can still do remotes or studios can do it, it's going to be helpful for them as well.
Absolutely. I mean, it opens the door to so many people who wouldn't normally, it's not as easy for them to get into studios, like you say. I think it's something that should be embraced. Opens it up to more people enjoying their hobby, connecting with different creatives. I mean, I don't want it to go away, which it's funny really, because I've only been doing it for like 2 months, I think.
So you're addicted already?
Yeah, but it's like, it's never going to replace the in-person shoot. Of course it won't, but I think it can, live just beside it. It's a great second...
The second option that you
second option, yeah.
Thanks, Carla, for doing the podcast. Where can people find you on the internet?
So I'm on Facebook, Carla Monaco. I usually accept photographers and models on there. I'm also on Instagram, Carla Monaco, with an X on the end, so it's Carla Monacox. I'm also on Purple Port, Carla Monaco, and you can look my website up at www.carlamonaco.co.uk, and I've got lots of information on there about my remote shoots, all my information, all the tech stuff, all the backdrops, all the things that we offer. So yeah, you can check me out there. And I also have a page of remote results, so you can see lots of pictures and things that have been shot at my location. You know, sorry, I've messed up there.
That's why my phone's going off as well. So I'm just, it's the weirdest time that someone decided to call me. So